It's not because foreign equals evil, but because scale alters form. You can have a small number integrating into a higher order, but a large number reconstitutes the order. So, that's xenophobic. You're Islamophobic. No, phobia, irrational fear, is disgust. It's an instinctive repulsion as a response to a formlessness, vulgarity, and degeneration. It's a recognition of civilizational decline, not irrational hatred. And the way that you evaluate that civilizational decline is by looking at form, hierarchy, spiritual orientation, and cultural style, not by abstract moral universalism. What's his name? Raw Egg Nationalist tweeted yesterday, "There's only one race, the human race." I said, what about the 400 meter? What about the baton? Like, what are you trying to say with this tweet? It doesn't make sense. If an immigrant comes over and they're, listen, I'm an immigrant. I'm not even an immigrant. I'm a refugee. I'm a failed refugee. I just don't get any benefits or any benefit at all. If you see law-abiding behavior, cleanliness, strong internal norms, family structure, low public disorder, cultural self-restraint, great. This is an organic community with internal discipline, as opposed to like the masses, which is produced by maternity, uprooted and formless. There's a difference. There is a substantive and structural difference between order and disorder. And that is what civilizational voluntarism is all about. It is taking anarcho-capitalism, which has a lot of theory in books and here, it's all over, but it's also kind of agnostic to some of these questions. It's being written out by this person, this person, this person. I'm kind of taking them together and saying, okay, listen, it's not like anarcho-capitalism isn't about being materialistic. It's not about having this liberal universalism where you reject these things. It's about establishing order by making some of those beliefs that are not personal preference, by the way. It's aligned with transcendent orders. It's about order without force, as opposed to disorder, which can degenerate. And it comes back to, you've asked me some questions about history. If you go back to the ancient Greek, there is not what is anarchy. There's some dirty words. There's anarchy. There's anarchy. There's anarchy. There's three different. There's an absence of order. There's an absence of rulers, and then there's mob rule. I think those are the three, and they're substantially different because you have virtue and order and hierarchy embedded in the Greek words themselves, whereas we don't have that now. Maybe as a deliberate thing. So the point is that in-group preference is structural. It's not pathological. If you have shared norms, a shared civilizational grammar, predictable conduct, organic loyalty, attachment to your own civilizational lineage, that is virtuous. And liberal ideology demands its negation, whereas traditional order has always preserved it. And it is that total moral inversion that's come about in the post-war synthesis led by America, as well as the communist subversives also, who've encouraged it, and Yuri Bezmenov was right. So this has come in to Europe and America, and it's just become so absurd. It's created lots of problems.
So the thing is like what I'm noticing, like in the European Union now, I don't know if it's the entire European Union, but it's from what I'm seeing in perspective here in Georgia, is that they're starting to mitigate immigration now. I know Poland is one of the forefront on this, but I'm starting to see it here where they're starting to try to prevent people from coming in from certain countries. Even expats, like even guys like me that have been here a while, we're starting to see it seems like they're trying to make it more difficult, not necessarily for us to come here, but just in particular, like with the nationalization of, they're looking out for their people, so to speak, like for jobs and things of that nature. We talked about this. I don't want to get too far into it, but What are you seeing in Bulgaria, like in this regard? Are you seeing any type of nationalist movement or like immigration, like
There's
hindering?
nationalism, but it's in Bulgaria. I think I'm not so sure, but I think there's like elite struggle. It's mostly internal, just corruption. Just the courts are terrible. The politicians are all mafia, like every other country, by the way. But it's just very obvious here. They're like, "Oh, we're going to raise your taxes," and everyone's like, "Come on, like, no, don't do that," because it's just such an obvious grift. And but Bulgaria is a shrinking country, not shrinking as much as Ukraine, for example. But Bulgaria 30 years ago had 10 million people, and now it has 7, and it's shrinking. There was something I read a while ago that said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna start importing Indians," and I haven't seen any. I don't know what happened about that, but the
We have a lot
problem's not.
here. We have a
Mhm.
lot here in Georgia. A lot. Yeah. But what it's continue what you're saying. I'm sorry.
I, I have no idea because it's now in Schengen. If someone
Mhm.
wants to move from anywhere in Europe, they can. If you've got a European residency, you can, but honestly, I like unless you love the country for the geography, for the food, for the culture, for the people, for the these are all good reasons to love Bulgaria, by the way.
Mhm.
Unless there's an opportunity here for you, I don't know why you'd come. It's a beautiful country. It's a great place to exist. I love being here. There are lots of benefits, but it's no longer as affordable as it once was. Maybe it is elsewhere. People tell me that groceries in Vienna sometimes are more affordable than here in Sofia. I'm like, damn, that's not great. I don't know how true that is because I haven't traveled and don't and can't. But and again, the geography is beautiful. The people, it's a great place to live and exist. But in terms of economic opportunity, it's just not that attractive for most people, I would imagine.
Yeah. Everything that you've said is like basically what's going on here as well. Um, Unless you have like family or you have opportunity or certain things that like draw you to this country, most locals will tell you, like, ask you what you're doing here, because it's like there's a lot better opportunities in other countries. um and like I said, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, one of the main things that I hear all the time is they're like, well, why are you here? Why did you come to Georgia of all places? And I'm like, well, I've been here a long time. I came here because of the affordability at first. Not just the affordability, but just I was younger. I was in my 20s. So I wanted to kind of experience like what it was like to live in, other countries, and would live and work. And I was working in multiple different countries before I came here. I was in Korea. Then I went into Europe to visit for a little bit, worked on some academic credentials. And I went to Saudi Arabia, worked for a little bit. And then like the opportunity to come to Georgia, fell in my lap. So I came here and I stayed for a little bit. I went to Turkey, went back to the United States, came back, and basically went back from Saudi Arabia to the United States to Georgia. And I saw the progression over time from a post-Soviet country through Rose Revolution, through the '08 conflict, and then the building and infrastructure. And it's very modernized now compared to when I first got here. But a lot of people that I saw recently on like influencers talking about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's cheap and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not cheap, bro. Not even by a long shot. I mean, maybe compared to the United States, maybe, but compared to the rest of Europe, not really. It's like we've already compared and contrasted the differences with prices between Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, and here.